Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of RE087, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called Boogieman, written by LgFatherAnthrocite. Chenik was so bored. His mom said the market was fun, but all the booths only sold food and clothes. He was standing on the edge of a crowd while his mom shopped for fresh perps. He was looking for a toy store or a junk peddler to check out when he saw an old Greblich woman pushing a cart full of books and compads and cool little bric-a-brac.
Ma, I'm gonna go check out the stalls. I'll meet you at the entrance in half an hour, okay?
Chenik said.
That's fine.
Do you have your compad? She asked, looking away from the pile of perps she was digging through. He pulled it out of his pocket and waved it at her. She smiled and said, "Have fun," before turning back to the perps. He took off at a slow gallop after the Greblich woman and found her sitting up on an empty corner. She eyed him briefly as she sent out her wares. "Come to shop or to look?" she asked sternly.
"Just look,"
he said. She nodded and finished setting up her wares. Chenik started to flip through the books and compads. After setting her merchandise out, the old lady sat in a chair and watched the crowd move past. Chenik saw a strange set of characters on a book and pulled it out of the pile. He opened it and saw more symbols he couldn't understand. He took it over to the old lady and said,
"Granny, what language is this? I don't think I have ever seen it before."
Her slitted pupils shifted from his face to the book in his hands. The pupils narrowed ever so slightly. "It's Terran Common. That's a human book." Chenik gasped and dropped the book. The old Greblich woman snatched it out of the air before it could hit the ground. "So you've heard of humans?"
"They come for you at night if you misbehave,"
he said. The old lady started to watch the crowd again. "Not exactly. People say they live in space, out in the deep dark between the systems. Supposedly, they originally came from the dirt and grew on a Deathworld, where the gravity would crush most people. It's said that if you follow the law, you have nothing to fear from them. But if you do something bad, they find you and they come for you. No one knows what happens then. They always drag their prey away, screaming in terror, back to their black ships, away into the silence of the deep dark, never to be heard from again." Chenik slowly backed away from the old lady, her eyes now fixed on a faraway spot in the market. Once he was in the middle of the street, he turned and ran towards the entrance to wait for his mother. The old lady's ear, hidden from view, a small comm device clicked on. "Jesus, Dave, I think you made that kid piss himself." So quietly, no one on the street could hear, and barely moving her jaw, the old lady said, "I needed him gone. Target sighted. Looks like the Berlin is here selling slaves after all. I'll get the beacon on him, but I'm leaving. I need to get these contact lenses out. They kill my eyes. Heading back to ship now." Berlin had a pretty good day. He had nearly been caught back on Grizzle 4, but had managed to make it out with his cargo. He had even had a good deal today. If the old Greblich woman hadn't fallen over him and his client, it would have been perfect. She had weighed a lot more than he'd expected, and she kept thanking both him and his client for helping her up. She had been very physical, rubbing her hands up and down both of their arms repeatedly as she thanked them, a Greblich custom. Brendlicht was on his way back to his ship when, suddenly, he was surrounded by a half-dozen bipeds wearing black uniforms with the GLQ insignia on their shoulders. "Brendlicht Flischlich of the Dentic Prime, you are under arrest for the crimes of kidnapping and sentient trafficking. Submit or be subdued." Each of the Galactic Legal Quorum peacekeepers held out some sort of device. Chenik was heading back to the transport with his mother when he saw it. 6 short bipeds were hauling someone onto a black vessel. The victim was being dragged by his collar by a single biped barely half his size, using only one hand. The man was screaming as he went into the ship, only to be cut off as the hatch closed. Chenik swallowed hard and swore to himself that he would never break the law as long as he lived. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.